So, I want to tell you a story that shows that it's not all doom and gloom in Zimbabwe or about Zimbabweans. There are actually some good stories about Zimbabweans who are interested in helping their country.
Yeah.
And they are actually, we have a lot of good people in our communities. One day I was flying to Cape Town. I'd been invited to speak at the Africa Leadership Institute, to speak to the new cohort of Tutu Fellows. And I sat on my seat, and so there's this young man. He says to me, "Oh, can I have a picture with you?" So I'm used to that, And, I have to, even when I'm feeling sad, I have to smile. And, I understand that I have to do that. So the guy then says to me, he's taking the picture. He said, "Oh, I've sent it to someone. I just want to show you who I sent it to."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, that's fine." So he shows me the name, and it's my personal physician.
Oh, wow.
So I said, "Oh, where do you know Nyasha from?" He says, "Oh, Nyasha is my classmate." I said, "Okay, so you're a doctor as well?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, so what do you do?" This plane takes off. So we are now talking. "What do you do?" He explains to me that he's a cardiovascular surgeon. Then I said to the guy, "Okay, so why are you not in Zim? Nyasha is in Zim and others are making money in medicine." And he said, "No, for me to do my work, I need a heart bypass machine and it doesn't exist in Zim."
Wow.
So I said, "Okay, how much does it cost?" He says it's 700,000. So I said, "Okay." So I get to my destination and I'm thinking about what this young doctor said to me. So I didn't think of a plan. I always think of plans. I always want to think of plans. So I think of a plan, and then I then call the EU ambassador in Zimbabwe at the time. So I tell him about this. He says, "Oh, we're always happy to look at things and see whether they are viable. Write something." Then I said, "Okay, Ambassador, I'll write about this when I've spoken to the other parts that need to be a part of this big project, when I think it's worthwhile now." So I go to Nelson Chamisa. He's the opposition leader, but a lot of people don't understand that all council hospitals, some don't even know that the council has hospitals. So Wilkins and Beatrice Road hospitals are under the council.
Okay.
And they've got like 9 polyclinics, which are half the size of a hospital like Chitungwiza. So I said, I met this young man. I want to propose to him that he comes back home. And I've spoken to the EU ambassador. He said, if we have a plan, we can put it in a document and send it to him, and he will look at it with his team. So my plan is that we buy this, we get the EU to buy the heart bypass machine. You run hospitals. So we put this bypass machine at one of your hospitals, and I suggested Wilkins. I said, because it's central, it's close to town, we put it at Wilkins, and then we ask the young man to come back. Because he had told me that even his nurses are Zimbabwean in Cape Town. So he said to me, "Hamkoma, it doesn't make sense that people are coming from Zimbabwe, paying a lot of money for me to come and do the work in South Africa, whereas I could just be home." So I said to him, I then called him, I said, "I've spoken to the EU, I've spoken to Nelson, I've spoken to the mayor of the city. Is it something you would consider to come back home?" And he said, "Okay, how would it work?" So I said, "You would come, set up your private practice at this council hospital. You do your private work from there. And in return, you pay back using the machine by doing free heart surgery for people who can't afford."
Wow.
Yeah? And it fell apart.
Oh.
Because the politicians couldn't do their... The young man said, "I'm happy to do that." And all it took was for the politicians to get their work together. And these are not ZANU-PF. And that's why I say that we need to change our mindset.
Okay.
the second one is I just got a random message on Twitter. Mkoma, this is my number. My name is Sandra. And then I call her. How are you, Sandra? She is an engineer in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
She works with medical machinery in Birmingham. So she specializes in dialysis machines. She says, Mkoma, I've seen you say Harare has got only 7 or 9 dialysis machines. I've got 40 that I can give you.
Wow.
Yeah. Her name is Sandra. She's there in Birmingham. She says, I see the Pakistanis, Indians, Nigerians, they take and they send to their country. And I'm an engineer here and I can give you these things, I say, I get in touch again with my guys, say, ZANU is not interested in this. You are the alternative. Let's work on this. I actually put a plan for them and nothing came out of it. The other time, I'm invited by the United Nations to go and I think it was 2021. I was invited by the United Nations to go to Geneva and talk about my work as an individual. And so I speak about hospitals and how we don't even have radiotherapy machines. So this woman stops me in Qatar because we flew on Qatar Airways. She says to me, Nkoma, Hope, can I have a picture? I said, okay. We had a picture. Travel well. He says, no, can I have your number? I want to talk to you about something that you always talk about. So I give him my number. So I thought she just wanted to talk about politics. So she says, I work, my boss is, we do radiotherapy machines and you always talk about them. So we start discussing and she says, but it's difficult to talk to politicians about this. They need to have a health advisory team of professionals that can help them. And unfortunately, it wasn't there, and I'll leave it at that. But the point I want to make is that there are a lot of good Zimbabweans out there who are ready to help their country. Mm-hmm. But we just don't have the right politicians across the board. It's not just a ZANU-PF thing. It's across the board. We don't have that's why it's easy for Emerson Mnangagwa to buy politicians like what he did with Chabangu. It's because we just don't have the right politicians. But there are good people there, and the exposure that I was talking about, it's self-evident in the people that I meet that, they always talk about, I want to help with this, I want to help with that. So I hope one day, Nyasha will be able to say, I want to go and train people at ZBC.
You know what? Me and you both have got some positive hopes. It's been so interesting hearing that, and it's very, very inspiring. So I am hoping that one day, we can join forces and make that change actually happen. Not just me and you, just the two of us, but also other people who are probably watching as well.